All right, so if we look at the agenda for this week, you will need your book every day. So please make sure you're bringing your textbook with you, okay? Now, today we're not going to take any notes in your actual notebook. You're going to be actually writing in your textbook because we're going to go through some questions that are in the book. So your notebook you won't need today, but what I'll be checking is to make sure you filled out the page that we're doing together. All right, and I'll check that when you have work time. That way you don't have to carry your book open as you leave. But the next 3 days we'll be taking notes. So make sure you have all week your book and your notebook with you, both of those things. Okay. So today what we're going to continue with is ratios and rates, but with real world problems. So when we went over this on Friday, I told you this is stuff you will use often. Okay, especially once you start earning and spending your own money, these are things you'll have to figure out. All right, so we're going to look at real world problems that involve rate and ratios today. So first thing I want to kind of review is unit rate. All right, and you don't have to write this down. It's already in your notebook somewhere. When we're looking at just a unit rate, that is the rate or the price or whatever of how many things. Unit is referring to how many things. And if you're not sure, you can look in your notebook because it's in there. Unit rate or unit price is dealing with how many, what number of things is a unit. Jordan? Just one. Okay? So anytime we're talking about unit rate or unit price, it is one thing. Okay? Could be many different things. Gallons of gas. Drops of food coloring. Okay? Unit is referring to one. We need to remember that. All right? So the page in your book I want you to turn to is page 71. This is the page I expect you to fill out that I'm going to look at that is like your ticket out the door today. So in your book, page 71. We're going to go through this page together, talk through it. I will write things on my notebook because I don't have a book to write on, okay? But you're just writing right in your textbook as we work through this, all right? So this scenario on page 71, how many of you have been to an arcade like at Jack's Warehouse or Zao Island, those types of arcades, okay? So we should all understand this whole scenario. Now, in the old days, typically when you went to these arcades, you didn't use a little card. Like now you get a card just like a debit card and they load your coins onto that. So that way you just have to carry around that card and hope you don't drop it somewhere and some other kid takes it and starts using it. Used to, you actually had coins, or a lot of them just used quarters. So you'd go to the little change machine, put your $5 in, and it'd spit out 20 quarters for you to carry around in your pockets. And then you would drop them in the machine to play. All right. So that's what this is about, is like using coins for those machines, not like a swipe card. So an arcade sells game tokens individually or in packages. They are having a sale on token packages as shown below. Okay, and again, this is in your book. I'm writing it up here for us to look at, but you do not have to write this part down. So we have our number of packages and then how much it costs. So they are telling us for one package, we are going to pay $5. All right. For 2 packages of coins, you're going to pay $10. And for 3 packages of coins, you're going to pay $15. Which one of those rows is our unit price? Based on what Jordan told us about unit rates, which one of these rows would be our unit price? And if you're not sure, look right back up here to what Jordan told us about unit rate. Which one of these three rows would be our unit price? I'm gonna let you guys think because we gotta think here. Look at what Jordan told us a few minutes ago. Which one of these rows would be our unit price? James? The $5. Because for one package, it costs $5. So that's our unit price. That is our price for one package. Okay? So we're going to look at question 1 on 71. And again, this is where you're writing stuff down. And this is what I'm going to look at to get you out of here. Question 1 says, how many token packages can you buy with $20? So let's say you're going to the arcade. Okay? Typically, you guys are old enough, if there's a group of you going, one parent will be like, I'll take them this time. Because you don't need all your parents going. So let's say you're headed to Zao Island and your parents give you $20. Okay, this is question 1. How many packages of coins can you buy with that $20? And you're going to have to try to explain to me how you got your answer. How many packages could you buy? Leah? 4. How did you figure that out? You're right. So whatever you did was right.
So the money, it goes by 5, and then for the number of packets, it's like goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't skip any numbers. So
Okay.
it would be $5 for one more extra packet.
Okay. So she's noticing the money is basically multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. So since these numbers are consecutive, 1, 2, 3, and these went up by 5, so for every roll, it went up $5. 2 rolls, we're now at 10. 3, we're now at 15. She knows it's just going to go to the next number, which would be 4. Yes. Anyone think about that a different way? That works, and she's right. Anyone think about it a different way? Jordan?
3 and 1.
Say that again.
3 and 1.
What do you mean by 3 and 1? Oh. You explain to me what you mean by 3 and 1, because I get it now. Actually, don't explain. Someone else, think about what Jordan just said. He said 3 and 1. What in the world is he talking about? I get it, and he's right. Why did he look at 3 and 1? Mason?
Because 3 plus 1 is 4, and 15 plus 1 is 20.
So Jordan noticed 15 and 5 gives you the $20 you need. So then you're looking at 3 rolls and 1 roll to get his 4. It took me a minute, but then I got it. Like 3 and 1. It works. Anyone think of another way that you could have figured out 4? I look at the unit price, okay? I know that 1 roll is $5, okay? So this here is a multiplication of 5. This here is a multiplication of 5. This here is a multiplication of 5. Now, I needed to go this way because I knew 20. What is the opposite of multiplying by 5? What's the opposite of multiplying? Jordan? Dividing. So I would have just taken 20 and divided by 5. Okay? There is always more than one way to do things. So there's kind of 3 different ways to look at it. Leah looked at it one way, Jordan looked at it a different way, and I looked at it a different way. We all can get this right answer based on the way that we solved it. Okay? And that's what's so confusing about math sometimes. There's not always just one way to do something. So then the next question is asking you if your parents handed you $25. How many packages of coins would you be able to buy? And you can solve it any of the 3 ways we just discussed. How many packages of coins could you buy if your parents gave you $25? Mason? I agree it's 5. Can you explain to us how you got that? What method did you use?
So how the number of packages you get goes up by 1, and then the number of tokens you get for every package.
Okay, so you kind of use Leah's, noticing that this is still just increasing by 5. So if our dollar amount increases by 5, then we're just adding 1 more roll of coins. Okay, I would have taken 25 and divided it by 5 to get my 5 packages. Either way works. Okay, or if we use Jordan's method, we need something that equals 25. There's a few ones we could look at. We could look at 20 and 5, which gives us 4 and 1. We could look at 15 and 10, which gives us 3 and 2. So again, all 3 methods work. You have to find what works for you. Okay? So then moving on to question 2. We've already answered this, but not written it down. What is the unit price? Okay, this kind of answered 1 for us. Number 2 is asking us, and I already told you this, what is the unit price? What is the price for 1 roll? James, put your hand down because you were the one that answered it already. Some of the rest of you got to pull the weight. What is the price for 1 roll? It's in a chart. Easy to find. Scarlett? It is $5. Number 3, now kind of the reverse of that question. 3 is asking you, if you know you want to go here and buy 6 packages of coins, how much money do you need to ask the adult for that's the ATM machine at your house? If you know you want 6 packages of coins, how much money do you need to be asking for? Look back at question 2 to help you figure out 3. Or you can look at question 1 and use Leah, Jordan, or Jordan's method or my method. Justin, how much money are you going to need? How did you figure that out? He did the multiplication method. He knows he needs 6 packages. He knows the unit price. 1 package is $5. So he took the 6 times the 5 to get $30. Okay, Jordan's method, we could have done 2 groups of the 3s. That would be 15 and 15. Okay, Leah's method, we're still just counting up by 1s. So if we needed to get 6, that's $5 more. All 3 methods work. Okay, any questions on that? Then, here is what the situation is on question 4, which is things that you will deal with. Okay, anytime you have a story problem, just like if you're reading something in social studies, science, or language arts, I prefer to read the questions first, because then I know what it is I'm going to have to answer or figure out. Then I feel like I have more of a purpose for what I'm reading and I know what I'm looking for. So question 4, we're going to first go to the actual question that they're asking you. They're wanting you to figure out how much money would you save by buying a package of tokens instead of buying the tokens individually. Okay, it's almost always cheaper to buy in bulk. So that's what you've got to figure out. So for question 4, we're going to read through this, and I want you to underline information that you think you're going to have to use to solve this. Remember, what we're solving is, how much will I save if I buy a package of coins versus buying the 25 coins individually? So as we read through this, The arcade sells individual tokens for 25 cents each. Anything in that sentence you think you're going to need to use to solve this? There is. What do you need to know? What from that sentence will you use to solve the question? I'm just going to start picking people. Juliana, what from that sentence will you need to solve this question? So specifically from that sentence, what information will you end up using? Yes, I would underline that. You need to know that each token is 25 cents. Okay? Then going on to the second sentence. If a token package contains 25 tokens, what would you need to know from that sentence to solve this problem? Dominic, that there's 25 tokens in a package. I would underline the 25 tokens. If you don't know what you're going to use, you're not going to be able to solve things. Underline stuff. That's why we have math books you can actually write in. So the question is, how much would you save by buying a package versus buying them individually? So here's the stuff we pointed out. Okay, Juliana told us we need to know that one token is 25 cents. And I would just write that on the line. Then Dominic let us know that we probably need to know that one package has 25 coins in it. Whoops, I can't spell and talk. Sorry, that's C-O-I-N-S, even though it doesn't look like it. So now what do we need to do to figure this out? How much will I save if I buy a package versus buying 25 coins individually? How much is this package going to cost me? This comes from question 2. How much is this package of coins going to cost me? Scarlett? Yep. Unit price. So that package is going to cost me $5. How can I find out how much it's going to cost me to buy 25 coins individually? So in a package, they're going to cost me $5. I need to know how much they're going to cost me if I go up and I buy one and I go and spend it and I go buy another one and I do that 25 times. How will I find out how much it's going to cost me then? What should I do? Remember, there's only 4 things we do in math. Jordan, what do I need to do? What's that? What by what? You are correct. How many coins are we buying? And how much do each of those coins cost? So I need to take 25 times 25 cents. This is where you are allowed to use a calculator now, because your calculator doesn't tell you what to punch into it. You have to know what you're doing in order to use a calculator. Okay? So if we take our calculators and we take the 25 times the 25 cents, 25 coins is going to cost us $6.25 if we buy them individually. If we buy them as a package, they're going to cost us $5. So what do we need to do to find out how much we're saving? You can probably do it in your head, but what do we need to do to find out how much we're saving by buying the package instead of buying the coins individually? Justin? You're going to take $6.25, subtract your $5, and you end up saving how much money? Leah?
$1.25.
Yep. You can go spend that on the vending machine on a water now because you get so hot in there playing those games. Okay? This is stuff you will need to know how to do. Is it cheaper for me to buy bulk or is it cheaper for me to buy them individually? The whole Sam's Costco concept is based on this right here. Should I buy 16 rolls of toilet paper or should I buy them at Strax 4 rolls at a time? Where is it cheaper? Unit price is exactly what gets you those answers. Okay? Questions on kind of that whole concept? Okay, and we're just going to look at a few other ones together. If you turn to 72, anyone still need this? Because I'm looking for these answers on 71. This is kind of like your notes, but I got to turn my page. Jordan. No, you won't have to show me anything in your notebook. I'm just going to walk around and look at your page 71. All right. So if we look at 72, now we're not going to make big charts. We're going to look at comparing, making equivalent fractions to solve things. So if you look at number 1 on page 72, it says Heritage Middle School has 150 students. 2 out of 3 students in Miss Mason's class prefer gel toothpaste. Use this ratio to predict how many kids in the entire school prefer gel toothpaste. Okay? And this is done for you. I'm just going to talk through it. We're going to look down at method 2. Shh. That's not his last name. We're going to look at method 2 for this. Okay, with writing equivalent fractions. One thing we need to know is the ratio. What was the ratio of students that liked gel toothpaste? It's the second sentence. Ayana. What is the ratio of students in Miss Mason's class that like gel toothpaste? It's the second sentence. Need the whole ratio. Keep reading it. Next 3. Perfect. Say, so 2 is the number that liked gel. 3 is the total number of students. This must be a really small class. Okay? So, how many total students are in the school? It's the first sentence. How many total students are in the school? Natalia? 150. So that would go on the bottom. Here's what you have to pay attention to when you're setting up equivalent fractions. And this is done for you in the book on method 2. If gel is on the top of this fraction, gel has to be on the top of this fraction. Total's on the bottom, total has to be on the bottom. Okay? They gave you the ratio 2 gel to 3 total students. So that's where I'm getting this number from. So now we have to figure out how many students, if the ratio is 2 to 3, how many students in the school would prefer gel? So we're just writing equivalent fractions. Again, this is where our calculators are going to come in super handy. How can we figure out what we did to 3 to get 150? What do you think, Jordan? You could, okay? If you take 150 and divide it by 3, you're going to get 50. So obviously you're taking 3 times 50 to get 150. To keep the fractions equivalent, whatever I do to one, I have to do to the other. So if I multiply the numerator by 50, what do I get for the number of students that prefer gel toothpaste? And again, this is where calculators come in handy. We're taking 2 times 50. Someone besides Jordan. Come on, guys. Justin. So if we follow the ratio of 2 to 3, then 100 out of 150 students would prefer gel toothpaste. Okay? Questions on that? All right. So, the important part for today. I want you to carefully tear out 75, put your name on it, and then we're going to talk about it. But I'll give you a few seconds because I know there's always commotion. Carefully tear out 75. First and last name at the top. In the My Homework, that's where you put your 4 or 4th hour or 4th period, whatever you prefer. Okay, so I want to look at these with you. I'm not going to solve them, but I'll help you get a couple of them set up. So number 1 says 45 cookies will serve 15 students. How many cookies are needed to serve 30 students? Okay, so we can set up a scenario. Always use labels. So if we write fractions, if we have 45 cookies that are serving 15 students, your labels are super important. With this fraction, we have to have cookies to students. Now, whether you realize it or not, this is the very beginning of writing algebraic equations and solving them. Okay? So they want to know how many cookies do you need to serve 30 students. So do we know the cookies or do we know the student number based on what they gave us? The question is, how many cookies are needed for 30 students? So do we know our cookie number or do we know our student number? Read the sentence again if you're not sure. You have to look in your book and read. We are not going to give you the information. Justin, which number do we know? Yes. So what you don't know is how many cookies. That's why it says how many cookies. What would we need to do to solve this? Jordan? By? Super close. Yep. Now we're not going to go over the answer. I'm just kind of setting a couple of these up for you. Question 2 says, 4 students spend $12 on school lunch. At this rate, how much money would 10 students spend? So we have 4 students spending $12. Okay. In the second sentence, do they give us the number of students or do they give us the amount of money? On number 2, do they give us the number of students or the number of money? Jordan, you can't raise your hand. You can work it out on your paper. This coming weekend, I'm buying popsicle sticks and writing names on them, and I'm just going to draw a stick. What information do they give us in number 2? Justin? 10 students. So then you have to figure out how much money 10 students would spend. This is where your calculator comes in very handy. What would I need to do on a calculator? I always have a glare. To figure out what they multiplied by here. What is the opposite of multiplication? Leah? Division. So if I want to find out what they multiplied by here, I could take 10 and divide it by 4 and find out that they multiplied by 2.5. So if you multiply the numerator by 2.5, what do you need to multiply the denominator by? If they multiply the numerator by 2.5 to keep the fractions equivalent, what do you need to multiply the denominator by? Leah? 2.5. Okay. So you're doing 1 through 6. They are all extremely similar to this. If you set up your fractions, you can just write equivalent fractions, and you can use a calculator. Okay, the calculator doesn't know what to do. You have to know what to tell it to do. If you finish 1 through 6 in class, you can turn it into me. If you don't finish it in class, you have to finish it at home. Then please leave your book open to 71. I'm going to come around and check and make sure we got that stuff written down as we went over it. Yes. You don't have to do 7. You're doing 1 through 6. Okay? And that's probably why.